What's going on, guys? You know, when you're a YouTube creator, sometimes things kind of randomly and unexpectedly show up at your mailbox, and you kind of wonder how they arrived there. And such is the case today. I got a notification that my mailbox had a package that had arrived, and it said it was 3 pounds. I show up there and they have my 3-pound package, but they also have this. So I got to give a big shout out to my friends over at Toro for randomly sending me this. This is super cool. If you guys didn't check out the videos that I've done with Toro already, you may not be aware that they actually provided me their Z Master 2000 mower, which is super cool. It's a commercial grade mower. The thing is held up flawlessly. I've had absolutely no issues with it. And it's essentially turned into like a UTV around here with all the buckets and attachments we've put on it. It's really a cool mower. And again, it's worked absolutely flawlessly out on the property that is completely surrounded and buried through with gophers. That said, wasn't expecting this. I reviewed their 60-volt kind of lawn tool selection with their leaf blower, which we use all the time, their pole saw, their trimmer, their string trimmer, all of that stuff, and it all is super awesome, and it works really well. So I guess they felt that that it was time to test one of these bad boys out. And this is their Super Recycler 60-volt battery powered, I guess, commercial construction push mower with a feature called Personal Pace Auto Drive. Crazy. It says up to 50-minute runtime, which I guess if you compare this to like a gas mower, it's probably not going to last quite as long as a gas mower might if you're using it consistently. But it's going to be really interesting to see how this thing performs when we use it out here once we get some rain, which I don't think we're getting anytime soon. Now, if you look at our lawn, it's actually been taking this sod rather well. So I did a video series on us putting sod down out here. We put roughly 5,000 square feet of sod in the back, the side, the front, and all these areas. It's doing pretty good considering it's not getting nearly as much rain as it should be getting. I mean, all the grass everywhere right now is pretty brown, and we keep watering this consistently. Even though there's some water restrictions, we have a shallow well, and we've been able to kind of keep up with it. But it's rooted in very well, especially considering it's been under these live oak trees pretty much its whole life. And yeah, it's been growing well. Like I said, it's not as rich and full as it is whenever a fresh rainstorm comes through, but we haven't had a fresh rainstorm in months, and we're in some pretty crazy drought conditions. So I wouldn't say that the grass here is in any worse condition than any other area on the property. We haven't had to mow it in a long time, and until we can get some really good strong rain coming through here, we're going to keep watering it with sprinklers and hopefully getting it to not die, and so it can actually stay rooted in and healthy. But once it starts growing back, it's going to be very cool to see how well that mower does on these areas where you have to get in between trees, you have to get up close to them, and it's not quite as easy to get around some of this stuff with a traditional riding lawnmower, or at least one of our zero turns. The zero turns do great up until you get to some of these areas right here where you just can't fit it into these spaces, and if you do, you risk damaging the grass because you're having to make really sharp zero turns, and it tears up the grass. Now, we've had some moles digging in some of these areas, but for the most part, the grass has still managed to do okay. I know it looks pretty bad right now, but that's just because we haven't watered it yet, but we'll be watering it here pretty soon and hopefully getting it all to grow back. It's going to be really interesting to see how it performs out here. Again, big shout out to the folks at Toro, and they probably know by now, just from watching my other videos, I don't hold back on reviews. I'm very honest. I'm very ethical about how I do reviews. I don't care how I get a product, it's going to get a fair review. So we're going to see how well this does out here on roughly 5,000 square foot that it'll mow, and maybe some other areas that we'll try to do a little bit of torture testing with it. Okay, so here's what we have in the box. We have the 7.5 amp hour battery, got the charger for it, got a blade. I don't know if this is the only blade or if it's a spare blade. Looks like we have a, honestly, I don't know what that is. We'll figure that out here in a second. And then we have a bagger, which is super cool, and the mower itself. So I am going to attempt to get this thing out. This cast iron deck is super thick and is extremely heavy compared to an electric mower that I've actually purchased for another property. This thing weighs a lot more. Let's go ahead and get this thing out of the box so we can take a look at it closer. Okay, so I have it pretty much assembled. Just wanted to show you the bottom side of it, and you can see this whole cast deck, which is very, very interesting. And you can also see how it comes with the spare blade. Okay, so I have it up on its side now, pretty much assembled, and you can actually see this cast deck, which is incredibly, incredibly well built. Very cool. You can also see that that is an extra blade. So it has a blade here, and this red portion in the middle, I'm assuming, is to create that vortex effect which sucks the grass up whenever you're mowing. So that's really cool. I just wanted to show you this and also check to make sure it had a blade on it before I put this thing on the ground. And what I figured out is that this is actually the key. So this actually will insert up here to turn the unit on, and you can see auto or max. Very cool. Let's get this thing off of the table and onto the ground. Okay, so this is the battery, 7.5 amp hour. And the one they sent me is pretty much dead. But thankfully, one of the other batteries they sent me is fully charged. So I'm gonna take this battery, go ahead and put it on the charger and get this one charged up, and we're gonna do some testing with this battery. Okay, so we got it all set up. Pardon the wind, it is an incredibly windy day out here today. And sometimes that kind of interferes with recording, but we got it set up. The only thing we had to do was take some bubble wrap off of this and then plug it into the ends of the handle here. And then essentially what you do is you pull down on this and push forward here for it to go into that personal pace system where you can kind of walk with it at the speed that you feel comfortable. You can see you have some height adjustments up front here next to each one of the front feet, and you also have some rear height adjustments back here. So you can make all your micro adjustments there. The battery, which I have in my hand, is inserted up here. See how this works. We're going to drop that in right there and close the lid. And then you have your power button right here. So to turn it on, I think you have to take this key, insert it here. You have auto and max mode. Or maybe you have to hold that down. Well, that's interesting. So it's very quiet. Sorry guys, it's actually been a while since I've operated a mower in general, at least a push mower. So if you want to go at that personal pace, you simply push this forward and back, let go of this, and it turns off the blade. So if you want the blade to spin, you're gonna have to pull this back, and while it's pulled back, go ahead and hit the button right there. Very cool. Okay, so I ran back and grabbed the bagger. You simply have to put this little rubber trim all the way around the edge. Baggers on push mowers are usually incredibly easy to install. I'm assuming you simply flip this up, take this, probably hook it in right here, like that, and you have your bagger up and running. All right, so let's go find some grass, but before we do that, I want to increase the height here a little bit, only because I'm a little afraid that it's going to cut too short. I don't want to do that, especially considering lack of rain, burning the yard, all that good stuff. So this side right here is also set at its lowest, so we're going to raise this up maybe 2 notches here. You just pull this lever back and kind of rotate this up, and it raises the deck height. So we'll do that on this side as well. And that might be high enough, but maybe we can go 1 more notch. Cool thing is they kind of have these half stops in here as well, so you can incrementally raise it up a little bit less than, you know, 1 full notch. So you can go here, 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 here. That's kind of creative how they did this actually. All right, so we are level now. Let's go to maybe this little area right here. See how it works. So pull back on here, press the button. Blades are on. Very, very quiet. Yeah, this thing is incredibly quiet. Doesn't feel like it's struggling at all either. Definitely feels more than capable, but at the same time, it's kind of a different feeling because of how quiet it is. I know a lot of folks have been asking me to review the Toro electric zero turn, but I don't know if it's ready for production yet, to be honest. Now, you know I'm gonna have to mow most of this now. Very cool. I love this feature of just being able to essentially walk with it. So you're not having to just really push it hard at all. You just walk with this control here and it kind of effortlessly glides along. It just sounds like a fan, honestly. It's so cool because it doesn't sound like it's really doing anything, only because it's so quiet, but it's cutting through the grass effortlessly. Anyways, I wasn't really planning on getting out here and mowing too much, so let's take it back and I'll give you my final impressions on the mower, at least based off of the information I have right now. Let go of the handle, the blade's shut off. Okay, somebody's gonna spot the error I made. I forgot to take the actual rear chute cover off, which means nothing was going in here. But in essence, what it was doing was chopping it all up really small and kind of mulching it down and recycling it, which it's also designed to do. So that's really cool. So I inadvertently showed you a feature of the mower that is really cool. What do you guys think? And if you have other 60-volt outdoor tools, then they just drop right in. The batteries do. Very nice. You know, Toro, I really appreciate this. You know, my channel isn't a lawn care, lawn maintenance channel, and I usually don't feature stuff like this, but I've been including more of it now that we have a property that needs mowing and taken care of, and a tool like this is always helpful. I truly appreciate it, and I will give an honest evaluation of it too, and how well it works. But as of right now, you know, honestly, my honest opinion about stuff like this is Toro makes an outstanding product. It's not some generic product. It's not a product people haven't heard of. If you go online and you look at their reviews, they're always reviewed well. You're going to see very few complaints about them. And the fact of the matter is that I don't expect this thing to give me any real problems unless I do something to it that is beyond what it was designed to do. And the reality of it is it all depends on how you use the equipment, and if you use it the way it's designed to be used, and then if you maintain it and take care of it, which I always try to do because I want stuff that I have to last a long time. But I will give you an honest follow-up feedback and evaluation of this mower. Again, guys, regardless of how I get equipment, I always promise to give you an honest review of how it's performing and if there's any problems, any issues. And I think I've delivered upon that, because I know I've burnt some relationships because I've sometimes been critical when maybe they didn't want me to. Anyways, guys, I'll put a link in the description of this video to this product if this is something you're interested in. Again, big shout out to Toro for providing this for review and evaluation on my channel. Completely unbeknownst to me. I did not know I was getting this. So this was a huge, really pleasant surprise to get in the mail. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.